welcome back everyone to my playthrough of Chrono Trigger. I'm no longer saying low-level playthrough because, well, we already completed the game at low level, and I'm basically doing bonus episodes here to show off the game's different endings, and I'm using a party that I already completed the game with, a maxed out party, so that I can get all the different endings. So the first one here I'm going to show off is the Developer's Room. You can get this ending in two ways. Either one, when you start a new game plus, the telepod on the right at Luca's demonstration at the Millennial Fair, it has a gate that'll take you to Lavos right away. So you can do that. Or if you beat Lavos the first time you encounter him in the Ocean Palace, in the fight that you're basically supposed to lose and Chrono gets killed in that, if you win that fight, which you basically probably won't be able to do until you actually do a New Game Plus, because Lavos there has double the stats. All the stats are doubled. So he hits twice as hard, he takes twice as long to defeat, you know, double defense, twice the amount of hit points, so yeah, much harder. But like I said, if you do manage to defeat him there, you can get this ending as well. Now that one guy said that there was 10 different endings. There's actually 13. I'll be showing them all off. And then there's like some variations on the endings, like you saw the endings that I showed. If you have the Epic still around, you get a different ending than if you crash the Epic into Lavos. We saw Frog, if you don't recruit Magus, Frog gets turned back into a human. If you do recruit Magus, well, Frog maintains his frog form. If you saved Luca's mother, she's dancing with her husband, Tabin, at the fair, where if you didn't, she's just sitting on the fountain. So yeah, there's like little minor variations. You know, if you recruit Magus, he's in the ending, and he goes off to do his own thing then to look for Shala. But for the most part, those endings are all the same. But like when they say that there's different endings, these are like when I say different endings, these are the ones that there's something basically very, very different about them. So, unfortunately, a lot of them not very good. We must do a Chrono Trigger 2. Yeah, I guess it would be nice. Yeah. But like I said, they do have a sequel, Chrono Cross. That was for the PlayStation, so I do not have a PlayStation, so I'm not going to play that one ever. So, that guy talks about Final Fantasy II. I have played that on this channel. Both the Final Fantasy II that was not released in America for the Nintendo, and then also the Final Fantasy II, there was actually Final Fantasy IV that was released on the Super Nintendo. I plan on doing a hack of that eventually later on. Unprecedented Crisis. It basically is like a what-if scenario. It basically, the game proceeds as if Leviathan never attacks the ship on your way to Baron after the assault at Fabule, and changes a bunch of things. So it's really pretty interesting little hack. So actually, one of the endings, there's multiple endings in that game, and one of them actually kind of ties back to Chrono Trigger here. You meet this like wizard who basically says he basically creates Lavos. So yeah, pretty neat. Eventually I will get to it. Eventually you have to also get to the actual sequel of Final Fantasy, the After Years. In that game, there's also a developer's room. Final Fantasy IV actually had a developer's room too, at least in the Japanese release. In the American release, it was cut out, but in the Dwarf Castle in the underground, in the area where the armor shop is, and the weapon shop, there's a hidden passage that you can go down. In the Japanese version, you talk with developers in that game. So yeah, it's a little thing, that Easter egg they throw into some of these Square Enix games. So like I said, we get to talk with all these different developers. I don't know what all of them did. If you go to like some places like the Chrono Trigger fandom page, I think they list all the people here. and basically say what they exactly did for the game. But I don't know what they all did, like I said. But if you're really interested, you could probably, like I said, look it up. You know, see what each one person did. You know, obviously put a lot of work into it. They probably feel bad that, you know, most people put all this work into the game, and most people probably just don't even read the names and the credits, you know. But I guess gives us a little bit of a insight into their personalities. So, a very interactive ending. You get to talk with all the people here. Zach, I mentioned something about the big thing, the Megs using this game. Yeah, this game was one of the bigger games at the time that it came out, and Square had to come up with some interesting ways to program the game to make everything fit. And have, I know a lot of things was like a lot of checks, you know, if something happens, you know, how it affects all the different timelines, all the different errors. So that was a big issue what they have with the programming. And once you talk with all these people, this door will eventually unlock, and we can go meet the Dream Team. There we go. And you know, one of them is Akira Toriyama, and he was the artist who basically made all the artwork for this game. He's also famous for the Dragon Quest games, and probably most famous for he's the creator of the Dragon Ball anime. So I have nothing better to do than read this. And there he is, Akira Toriyama. So he has since passed on, but his legacy, I guess, you know, lives on in all those projects that he made. Yeah, so there's all those people again. You just talk with them. And that is the end, but it's not the only end, because we have some more endings to show off here. This is ending number 4. And this is basically the, I call it the Frog Prince ending. We get this ending after we rescue Queen Leene in 600 AD. You basically come back to the 600 AD, and then you, as soon as you do that, you go into that right telepod at Luca's place. And things have changed a little bit here. Princess, wearing our disguise again. So yeah, everyone's like, we're wearing the disguise, Princess. What's going on? Well, we'll find out. Let's talk with some more people here. Princess, you're dressing normally. So this is pretty interesting. I'll show it off when I do my actual regular playthrough of Chrono Trigger, because all this place I kind of skipped around because it wasn't important in the low-level playthrough. But yeah, these cavemen are these cosplayers are basically doing the same dance that the alien was doing back in 65 million BC. So when one of the NPCs back in that time frame was like, I wonder if this dance will like live on, you know, for a long time. Well, obviously it did, because hey, we're still doing it in, you know, over 65 million years later. So there's that guy, that old guy that we talk with. Sometimes if you talk with him, he'll give you his prediction for who's going to win the race. That's where you can win silver points. If you correctly guess who wins the race. There's another way you can get silver points doing this little thing there. Yeah, sometimes the old man gives you a little bit of a clue, and so something don't look right. Let's return to the castle. We're going to learn what's really going on, why everyone's basically saying, like, Princess, are you wearing the disguise? Oh, then what's wrong with the people? Where have you been, Nadia? First calm down, and why those clothes? Everyone keeps saying that. What do you mean? You bowed about. You needn't keep dressing that way. Uh-oh, the king is hopping like a frog. You're just in time. They found this 500-year-old wedding album in the registry, and now she hopped like a frog. Uh-oh. No, tell me you didn't. No! So let's see what happens in this wedding. There's a Chrono Trigger, that character designer again. Drew all the artwork. Yeah, if you're a fan of like Dragon Ball, a lot of the characters kind of look similar, especially in like Dragon Warrior. Like some of the guys look like Goku and Trunks. But yeah, apparently after Frog rescued Queen Leene back in 600, in this timeline, well, he ends up marrying Queen Leene, and thus everybody in the royal family is now basically frog people. So that's why the king was hopping there, and Marley hopped, and kind of let out that croak. So yes, so now the royal line is made up of frogs. Talk about Glenn was just like a peasant basically, then he became a knight. Well, no, he didn't even become a knight, but he was a friend of that knight Cyrus. And now he becomes the male progenitor of the royal family in this timeline. And now we have another ending. So unfortunately, this is one of the kind of lamer endings. There's quite a few like lame endings that don't really do anything. They call this one a New and Friends. So we have a new, basically saw a lot of them in Zeal, and we have this like little frog guy who comes around, and they just basically interact with one another. And the credits roll. So yeah, nothing really big here, but you get this ending if you defeat Lavos after you reach the end of time, but before you go back to 600 AD to start doing the quest to restore the Mazmion. So basically, like after the end of time, like around the time when you fight Hekron in the cave. So basically, yeah, just go there, do this part then, and fight Lavos then, and you'll get this ending. So not really worth it, really, but like I said, you want to see everything? There you go. So yeah, the new kept getting bothered by that little frog. Did you finally get some Z's? Nope, frog gotta bother him. Which remind me of like, sometimes I tease my animals, like my dog will be sleeping and I tap his paw or something like that. I know it's mean, but they don't have to work. You know, same thing with my rat, you know, he gets to sleep all day. If I want to have some fun with him, well, that's the price he's gonna have to pay for, you know, basically just living mooching off of me. So, but that's what your pets are supposed to do. You take care of them and let them mooch off it for they pay back with their love. Poor new. Will he ever get some Z's? Well, he caught his Z's right there, so. Mr. Rat Damon right now is catching some Z's in my lap. He's a little tired. He's been a little sick. He got a little abscess that just popped. So, gotta get him to the vet to get him some antibiotics, but he's a little tired. He's getting a little older. Starting to get that hind end degeneration. So then they start dragging themselves on the ground a little bit. We do have wheelchairs, but he's not at that point where he needs to use the wheelchair yet. But, you know, just they seem to develop seem to be more abscesses because when they get like that, because they're, you know, dragging their belly on the ground. Alrighty, none more ending here. This is the last one in this little group here. It is called Tata the Hero. This is if you go back to 600 AD to begin the quest to restore the Mazmion. But before you get the hero badge from Tata, if you go back and fight Lavos you will get this ending. And because we didn't get the hero badge off of Tata, basically he's going to take the role of Frog and be the hero. We get to see what almost like a replay of the beginning. Robo is going to be like Chrono, and Atropos is going to be like Marley. They're going to run into each other, and well, Atropos doesn't drop her pendant like Marley did. Maybe she could have dropped her ribbon. That would have been interesting if they would have done something like that. Yeah, we see, hey, Nadia's bell still rang deep into the future. 1300 years later. So we get that little part there with Robo and Atropos. And then, like I said, then we get to go back to 600 AD, and we'll get to see how Tata basically is going to function as the hero. He will go on to Magus's castle to take on Flea / Ozzy. Magus, although he doesn't make it to Magus, he runs into another obstacle before then, but I'm not going to spoil that. We'll just keep watching the ending and find it. So we saw this scene in like the regular endings, when the Epic was flying around. It flew through that section right there. We'll see Robo and Atropos on the mountain there. Mount Dendora, where the Mazmune was. So here's Tata getting ready to go and take on Magus. So that's what happened in this timeline. He's heading off to Magus. I wonder what happened to make him decide to be the hero. You know, we know we found the medal and thought he was the hero, but then as soon as adversity came on the mountain, he ran away and gave the hero medal back. I wonder what happened this timeline to make him keep it. So yeah, Tata becomes the hero. He calls out Magus, but instead of getting Magus, turns out Chrono, Marley, and Luca became villains. So yes, that's interesting and weird. Different little take on the ending there, so that's nice. Like I said, a lot of the endings, we'll see a few of them in the next episode. Not really a lot happens. That is actually, I guess, one of the better endings. In terms of something different actually happens. But there we go. So that's some of the endings. We'll go see some more in the next episode. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.